three. Maurice McLeod is the Vice Chair of Race on the Agenda and joins me live on the programme. Welcome to you tonight, Maurice.
Hello, Tom.
Your thoughts on the sacking of this man?
Yeah, I think it's fair enough. I mean, what he did was... I don't sort of take the argument that he didn't mean any offence and he was kind of supporting the Black Lives Matter movement with his own thing. That's clearly nonsense. You don't crowdfund and go to all that trouble to fly that banner. At this particular moment, when the Black Lives Matter protests are very prominent, so it was a deliberate provocation. It's not a crime, though. If I were an employer, I wouldn't choose to have someone like that publicly embarrassing my company. I think his firm are perfectly within their rights to say, yeah, great, you're not for us, thank you.
He has said, having been given a lifetime ban from Burnley Football Club, he has said, quote, "My employer, the club, and so many other people have completely overreacted to what's happened." And when we were discussing this before, lots and lots of people ringing in saying what that banner said, White Lives Matter Burnley, how can that possibly be construed as offensive or indeed anything approaching criminal or racist?
Well, it's not criminal. As I just said, it's clearly everything's in context. All communication is in context, and the context of him and his friends hiring that plane and flying it over the football ground at that point wasn't just to celebrate, his white culture or anything along those lines. It was absolutely as a counter to the Black Lives Matter protest. Now that's a choice that he can make. He can say, we live in a world where you're in a country where you're allowed to have those thoughts and those decisions if you want to. But we also live in a country where your employer can decide they don't want to have you as one of their employees, and the football club can say, actually, you don't represent what we want to represent, so you can no longer come to our ground. But all of that's perfectly legitimate.
I mean, yes, the employer would have to act within the law about dismissing somebody. They can't unfairly dismiss somebody. And I've already got people saying, here's James in Fulham, for example, "I really hope that the welder takes his dismissal to an employment tribunal. What happened to free speech? He didn't make a racist statement anyway." Well, I would challenge that with the use of the P word. But on this particular matter of the banner, where do you think the line is drawn?
Yeah, I think there could be some validity in that. I think if he'd just flown the banner, I still think it's a clearly offensive thing. And if I were an employer, I wouldn't want him working for me. But I'm not sure whether that crosses the line for something that you could be fired for. But you don't need to delve very far, to be honest, into his sort of Twitter profile and timeline to see plenty of examples of him being racist in public. Now, that I would imagine. I don't know his company's policies, but I would imagine that's in breach of their policies. Because I'm not an employment lawyer, but I would think that they'd probably be okay, but we'll see.
I think we may well see. I mean, I just don't understand, I have to say, some of the calls that we get that try and explain away the motivations and the context behind the flying of this particular banner at this particular time. As, the defence is he's only using words, the words being White Lives Matter. Of course, White Lives Matter. What's wrong with that? Whereas, as you say, you cannot separate this from the context, and certainly either the potential motivation, given the kind of crowd he's associated with and the kind of views he's expressed in the past.
Absolutely. Any string of words can be moved around and used in a particular context to be a big problem. So, I think people making. I'd rather people, and a stronger argument I would say is, what's wrong with being racist? If someone wants to say, yeah, I want to be racist, and that's perfectly fine, there's no law against being racist, make that argument. Don't pretend that he wasn't being racist. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I would almost rather accept that as an argument with more integrity. Yeah.
What about, given that a lot of what Black Lives Matter, the movement, has done is to educate people and explain some of the things that have happened in history that leads us to where we are today, and why they are so horrendous for some people. Do you think perhaps a response may have been, rather than sack him, to try and educate him further about why these views are abhorrent, wrong and unnecessary, given that the narrative of grievance may well only be perpetuated by having been sacked?
Yeah, I mean, I can see the validity in that, but I don't know enough about what happened with his partner, but if apparently she was offered some sort of training and she didn't, for some reason they decided not to go ahead with that. It might be that he by the sound of things, he doesn't think he's claiming that he doesn't think he's done anything wrong. So whether he would go to any sort of training or whether he'd even take it in is another thing. I don't know.
But the point isn't the point that you've got to give people a chance. I mean, either we're saying that he said racist things in the past. We can't get inside his head, but he may well have racist thoughts and racist motivations. But either we accept that and offer the people who are racist no opportunity to change, or you offer a bit more forgiveness and tolerance and offer them the opportunity to change. And if they don't, then they're a lost cause.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all about redemption, Tom, but I think it sounds like you're being a little bit dramatic. I mean, he's lost his job.
Yep.
It's not as if he doesn't have a chance to change. He's 24 years old. I would like to think he'll have a long, hard think and go, oh, God, was that a wise thing to do? And maybe he'll grow as he grows older. But, the idea that he's had no chance, he's been thrown on the scrap heap of life. He's lost a job and he's sort of involved in a bit of a Twitter thing at the moment. He'll live and hopefully he'll learn and grow and that's what he thought. I mean, I'm not bathed in sympathy for him.
Now, I can certainly understand why that would be. Maurice, thank you. Maurice McLeod, Vice Chair of Race on the Agenda.